I
Mhm.
actually, what you just said, that it's war, I agree. I should put that somewhere on a hashtag, maybe.
Oh yes, it's not for the faint-hearted, eh? Not everyone
No,
can. That's why everyone ends up tapping out and only 1% stick on for years.
agreed. Absolutely agreed. So I will come on screen in 5 minutes. My internet is a little unstable, so I just want to make sure that I can be heard.
Okay.
I see people joining in. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Albina. Welcome, Elsie Nkiwane. Welcome, Bobs. Really great to have you guys
Thank you.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you as well. Where are you calling from, Bobs? Where are you joining from?
I'm Zimbabwe in Bulawayo.
I got you. Okay. I haven't been
I'm
yet,
also from
but
Zimbabwe, Bulawayo.
I love it. Okay, okay. That is cool. Thank you for sharing. I am currently based in Johannesburg. I see we're a multi-country setup right now.
Yes, and just to let you know, Elsa Nkiwane is my mother.
Oh, nice. That part wasn't mentioned. That's actually very, very important to know. Thank you for joining as well.
Thank you.
Ndabezinhle, you're welcome as well. I see you. Welcome, Pepukai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel left out. I haven't been welcomed.
Oh, Michael, I have no way of not welcoming you. Welcome. Hi, how are you? Where are you?
I am calling you from Cleveland, Ohio in the US, but I was born in Cameroon.
Oh, lovely. Okay, welcome to the call. What time is it there?
Oh, it is in the middle of the night. I had to get up just for this call. It is 2 a.m. in the morning. Oh no. It is 10 a.m. It's a good mid-morning.
I love it. Well, thank you for making the time to join. We really appreciate it. And I think because we have a good amount of people, I'm just going to go straight ahead and start the meeting. And our colleagues that join the call will join as and when they join. I think that's the approach. Welcome to Elisa Confab event. My name is Amanda Ntati Chembezi. I am going to be your moderator for the day. My job is very, very simple. We have amazing speaker today, and we have equally an amazing batch of people on the call that you're going to get to network with. For those that are joining these calls for the first time, the Elisa mission essentially is put together by ICPD, which is the International Center for Professional Development. And their mission is to create jobs and support entrepreneurship in Africa. Partners. They grow professionally.
Amanda, I don't know if it's just me, but I think your audio is cutting out a little bit.
Yes, we lost Amanda for a minute. I'm sure she'll be right back.
Why don't well, yeah, let's give her 1 second, but I think we could, Solani, if you'd like to move to our introducing our speaker, and then, oh, Amanda's here.
Yeah.
I am Scott. I am sorry. I am back. Sorry, colleagues. I will go straight into introducing our speaker, just in case I go off as well. Our speaker is called Mpumelelo Ndiweni, and he's an entrepreneur in the Southern African, East African, and Middle Eastern region. Started his first revenue generating venture at the age of 17. Wow, with establishment of The Zone, a games and video center. In the next 21 years, he went to establish more than 30 enterprises. He was shortlisted as one of the first Black industrialists in South Africa, granted diplomatic status with a 10-year development approval order in Botswana. He has also been licensed as a special economic zone developer in both Zimbabwe and South Africa. He is currently working to achieve the same in Malawi and Kenya. Wow, I'm going to pause there because it's a very long bio. This bio, and I
Hi, Scott.
Hi.
Okay, so yeah, we lost Amanda again, and we are going to be having Mpumelelo Ndiweni, who is the founder and CEO of the Coleman Group and Zulu Life, and we are going to leave this time to you, sir, to talk to us, inspire us, and yeah, welcome.
You're on mute.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sondlana. Quite unfortunate that Amanda keeps getting cut. I'll just share our corporate video for a product we just launched. Then I'll proceed after that.
Introducing the Coleman Group stablecoin, backed by assets that have your back. Partner into Africa, investing responsible, the future together. Tapping into Africa's abundant resources, meeting its pharmaceutical deficits with surplus super compounds, driving healthy nations and decentralized healthcare. Now, that's diversity.
Okay. My name has already been said, is Mpumelelo Ndiweni. I'm the founder of the Coleman Group, which is an Africa-directed investment and holding company. We are largely focused on industrial and trade assets. So this is why we've launched our Coleman Group coin, which is focused on squarely assisting Africa on the infrastructure component and trade component. So it's a stable coin, meaning it's backed both by gold and the infrastructure assets that we develop. And one then will ask themselves, why are we going to such a length to set up a stable coin? And it's an attempt by us to solve the number one problem that's faced by all entrepreneurs, the issue of funding. Funding is a big problem, more so post-COVID, more so in the middle of Russia, Ukraine. Interest rates are too high, venture capital is not coming to the play. It is very difficult for entrepreneurs to raise capital anyway. So what we have done as the Coleman Group is we have launched our stable coin, the Coleman Group coin, which is backed by gold and infrastructure assets, that as we build any of our infrastructure, we tokenize it under the Coleman Group coin. So when anyone is buying into the Coleman Group coin, they are partnering into the industrialization and trade assets of Africa. Now, I was requested to give a keynote on 4 issues. The first was crowdfunding. This is what the Coleman Group coin does, offering a platform for crowdfunding to say, outside of all the financing systems that are available, be it commercial banks, be it development financial institutions, venture capital, private equity. How else can entrepreneurs raise capital? Entrepreneurs, therefore, need to be innovative. You need to find something within your skill sets, number one. You need to find something within your surrounding, your circumstances, your environment that works for you, and tap into that. The normal cycle is people first go through the 3 F's, which is friends, family, and fools. You first step into that naturally because those are people closest to you. Those are the people that are seeing what you're doing, so it's easier. But what happens when you want to scale now? What happens when you want to get past that? Because your 3 F's cannot get you to be a national brand, so to speak, or to expand into other markets. You need commercial funding. But if there's no commercial funding, crowdfunding is the best direction to go. And the best thing to do for crowdfunding, which is why we have launched the Common Group Coin, is build assets. Build assets, because with assets, you are able to have collateral that is able to be provided. And for you to build assets, the one direction that you definitely need to focus on is, which I like to say is, cash is king. Focus on the revenue streams within the business that quickly generate revenue for you, and use that to build to build your assets. I know as entrepreneurs, sometimes we get attached to our projects. Something's not working. It's not working, but because you've built it from zero, you want to hold on to it, even if clearly this thing is absolutely not working. So I like to use an approach of saying you need to push it out quickly so that it fails fast. Fail fast so that you know what works and what doesn't. What works is only going to be separated from everything else by its ability to generate cash flow. So if you are running any enterprise, the statement that you want to focus on is your cash flow statement. How much is coming in? How much are you retaining in the pocket after you've paid your running costs? The emotional component of it's going to make money later, you cannot afford it because you have challenges accessing capital from the get-go. So that's number one. So crowdfunding, to effectively crowdfund, people want to see assets. They want to see something physical. So we have launched the Common Group Coin, which is backed by gold, which is stored, that will be stored in a vault. That's number one, certified. Number two, on infrastructure assets, which you and me can be able to see and whose value is quantifiable. So that's number one. Number two, I was requested to speak about networking. Networking is so important in entrepreneurship and in life in general. I'll give an example. We went to high school with a boy called Neville. Neville was so intelligent. At our high school, at A level, we were doing 3 subjects. I was in the sciences, I was doing maths, physics, and chemistry. He was in the same class as me. But because he was intelligent, he added 2 extra subjects on top. So he was doing maths, physics, chemistry, architecture, and advanced mathematics. Now, he's doing 5 subjects. That shows you that he is a super intelligent human being. And lo and behold, for sure, come the final examinations, he got distinctions right across. But where is Neville now? Neville now is a lecturer at a polytechnic. Networks are important. If he had the networks, definitely he would be far with his abilities, with his intelligence. But because he did not have the networks, even with your talent, if you do not have the networks, your talent is meaningless. You will not go far. You need the networks. You need to put yourself out there, get to know people, get to be known by people. There's a statement that says, what you are is 30% what you do and 70% what you say. How loud are you? How known are you? That's what gets. If, for example, I'll give you an example. If we were to go, me and Elon Musk, to any bank now to apply for any funding, Elon Musk will definitely get funding. It will be problematic for me because he is known, I'm not known. You need the networks to be known. You need to get out there for you to be able to build any sustainable enterprise. And I like to say, for any entrepreneur, there's three key pillars that every entrepreneur needs. Number one, the ability to develop your product. Number two, the ability to sell your product. If you can't sell, you're already dead in the water before you've started. You need to be able to get out there and tell your story. And those networks are essential. You need to get out there and get the networks interested to come into your product. And then the third component is artificial intelligence. At this point in time in history, we cannot afford not to embed AI into our business models. If you have not started that journey, you need to. You need to start doing some groundwork on AI and how you can bring that into what you are doing. Because AI is actually revolutionizing everything. From customer feedback, from product development, we are definitely going to see a lot of changes. So if you do not embed AI now, you are going to be left behind. You're definitely going to be left behind. So you need AI. And lastly, AFTA, which is your Africa Free Trade area. In this day and age, you cannot afford to build for your local market only. Build for the global scale. When you are building, wherever you are, if you are building in Africa, have someone in China in mind, have someone in the US in mind. Build for the global market. Because if you build for your local market, you will definitely be disrupted. You must never think somebody who's, as Mike was saying, that is in Ohio, part of businesses that are there, their growth strategies are also to come into Africa. So if you have not built your business, if you have not built your product for the global market, you're already dead in the water. When AFTA, which already started rolling out, when it rolls out, it's going to wash you away. So which is why we then built our company Ezra Life, a subsidiary of the Coleman Group. We built it for the global market. So I'll just play a promotional video now on Ezra Life so that you get to appreciate what's happening. So we have built deliberately Ezra Life for the global market. In anticipation, Africa has got a pharmaceutical deficit. We've got, just on a figures basis, I'll give you an example of India. India has got about 1.3 billion to 1.4 billion people. In India alone, they've got 5,000 plus pharmaceutical companies. Africa has got a population of 1.1 billion. Of that 1.1 billion, we only have 350 pharmaceutical facilities. That's a deficit of 92%. But it will be foolish for any entrepreneur within the space to build only for Africa, because definitely the Indian pharmaceutical facilities and the Chinese pharmaceutical facilities would want to expand into Africa. So you need to build for the global market, for your product to be sustainable, for your product to be available in the long term. So I think, Amanda, if you're back, or Sandlani, that becomes my introduction for now, and I'm handing it over to you.
Yes, I am back. Thank you so much, Mpumelelo, for that brief introduction. I have a feeling you're going to be here for a little bit more because there's still more questions we have. But I want to maybe open the floor to people to ask questions if they have. I can open up with mine. Unless, Abigail, I see you unmuted yourself. Would you like to ask a question? Okay, perhaps she doesn't know that she's on. All right, no problem. You mentioned failing fast. That was one of the things that really spoke out to me. And you know how tough it can be as an entrepreneur, and it almost feels lonely. I'm quite curious if you can share a story of how in the past, maybe a specific incident where you saw yourself failing fast and pivoting or quickly, looking for the next way to move forward. I think it would be so helpful for us.
Okay, all right. I'll actually give you an example of the company that you've seen, Ezulu Foods, Ezulu Life. An example of failing fast. When we started off Ezulu Foods, we launched 3 products. The first was a cereal, the second was cooking oil, and the third were cookies. So the first was what was called Vital Breakfast. It was a Vital Breakfast cereal. The second was original garlic oil, and the third was Ezekiel cookies. So pretty fast, what we realized was the cereal was moving faster than the garlic oil and the cookies. But the margins were different. The cereal had a lesser margin than the garlic oil and the Ezekiel cookies. So what we then did was, in order for us to completely understand whether there was life in the cereal, we suspended these 2 slower lines and focused on the cereal. We pushed the cereal, and that saw us expand. When we started off, we started in Zimbabwe. We grew it nationally. We expanded into South Africa, grew it in South Africa, expanded into Zambia, grew it in Zambia. Now, when COVID came, that was the peak of the business, because the value proposition of our product is it's a healthy cereal. So people were so concerned about their health at that point. So quickly, our sales just shot through the roof at that point, because everyone was looking for any solution. Our product boosts immune systems. So people were actually buying in droves on that. Then a year or so later, due to the economic pressures in the market, consumer fatigue set in. Now, when consumer fatigue set in, people started focusing only on essentials. And immediately we started having strain. We started having strain on the cereal because that's a luxury at that point. So we started having strain, so which meant we needed to quickly roll out new products to introduce an inflection point in our company. So we immediately rolled out 2 products in addition to the cereal. The first was what was called Vital Breakfast Ultra Shake, which was a shake that was meant to control hypertension. And the second was also Vital Breakfast Ultra Capsules. We immediately, to launch them, we actually had a marathon. I think you saw it on the video, where we cycled all the way from Durban, 2,500 kilometers. The target was to get to Lusaka, but obviously it ended in Bulawayo. But the intention was to give exposure to the new product so that we could quickly take it to market, because we could see that there were challenges that were coming through on the cereal side. So that's an example of how to quickly act. Number one, when you're seeing a potential failure, immediately introduce inflection points, an inflection opportunity, and allow it like we did with the 3 products when we started. We allowed Vital Breakfast, original garlic oil, and the Ezekiel cookies. All 3 of them went to market, and we allowed the other 2 to fail for us to concentrate on the Vital Breakfast cereal. which was moving and which allowed us to expand.
Thank you so much for that. I think more than anything, what I'm hearing is one, diversify, and secondly, also be very quick to pivot in your strategy if you need to. But thank you so much. Any other questions?
Hi, Amanda.
Sondani, I see you unmuted yourself. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I think, Mpumelelo, you spoke highly about networks, the importance of networks, and I think you had a fun way about talking, talking about networks. So my question though is on what networks did you leverage on, and networks that you relied on that helped you with your success today? And yeah.
Okay. I like to say there is nothing as cheap as being a good person. All the people that you meet in your entire life is very important in your success, that you cannot afford to literally treat anyone badly. I leveraged a lot of family. I leveraged a lot of friends, who obviously would introduce you to the next and so forth and so on. But one of the biggest tools, which of late has been very instrumental in driving where I am, has been social media. Put yourself out there, Twitter, LinkedIn, get across to people, inbox them, begin discussions. That's how I've been able, for example, that's how I managed to move our product when we were in the expansion period. That's how I was able to get across to potential buyers, introduce myself in that way. And obviously, when we get into the local market, for example, we were producing in Zimbabwe first. And for us to get into the South African market, I remember the first batches we actually were using my young brother's house. That's where we're doing the packaging, and I was using my older brother's car to do the delivery. We're already based in that market. The same thing happened also when we were expanding into Zambia as well. We used a family relation again to distribute for us, to do the packaging for us. So these relations are very important right across, because obviously, remember, as a startup, you do not have the resources to get into a market, open up a big factory, employ people, and so forth. So you want to work first with what you have, and your networks is what will get you through the door. And then to get into the supermarkets, or to actually access the market, now that's where you need referrals. I mean, when I got into the South African market, for example, I first bounced around a couple of friends until I was introduced to one friend who decided to give us an opportunity at his shops. He had 15 stores. So he said, no, I'm going to give you a shot for 15 stores. So he gave us a shot into his 15 stores, and it's there in those 15 stores where one of the buyers from the SPAR group actually saw our product. So when the time came for us to present to SPAR, he already knew that we were already in the market and we'd been introduced by a friend who then introduced us to the owner of the supermarket chain.
Thank you. I hope you were answered there, Sondani, and for the benefit of everyone else. Thank you so much, Mpumelelo. I also had another question. I don't want to take over the question, so let me just wait first to see if anyone in the audience has another question they want to ask. We have about 3 minutes to 4 for questions before we move to our breakout rooms. Do not take this opportunity and forget to ask your question. There's so much here to learn. Maybe while people are thinking, my other question was, So I heard two things. That one, you need commercial funding for your business. And as you were saying that, I was just like, gosh, but like, where do you even start? You know, and there are different types of networks, but that one is very specific in which kind of people will get you access to that. So I just wanted to know if there are simple steps that we can maybe start trying out to build that type of network that could get us to getting commercial funding. If you were not born of somebody, if you're, you know, you're just, you know, your own and you're really building from scratch. I often hear some entrepreneurs saying they're self-made. Perhaps maybe what they mean is that they didn't have generational legacy of, you know, contacts. So I want to know, maybe there's some things that you can share with us quickly. And then the last thing from my end is you've actually gone through different countries and built in different countries. And I know for a fact that those countries, you know, you have to be resilient in them, especially when you come in and you're not necessarily either from there, or you're not necessarily a person who has been in the networks there. What helped you with building that resilience and also actually becoming a game player in any country that you seem to be going into to expand? It doesn't, I think what I've learned from you is it doesn't even matter where you go. You are just going to dominate and get what you need done. So I'm curious to know what that looks like for you.
Okay. I think I'll start with the second one, then I'll go to the first one. Okay. With respect to when you expand into new markets, you need to understand the market. That's number one. You need also to be very sure about who your target market is. Because you have obviously learned from your first market. Now in the second market, you cannot get in there and start throwing stones through all over the place. You need to get in there focused. Which market are you actually targeting and how are you actually going in there? So that's what helped us when we moved across boundaries. We were following our value proposition, we had our target market, and we were approaching the target market. And I'll give you an example, which I understood, which actually was an advantage for us. Our cereal, because it's a healthy cereal, the Vital Breakfast cereal, when we launched it in Zimbabwe, for example, we discovered that the Zimbabwe palate, meaning how people eat, is not, they are not inclined to sweet foods. So when we took the same product to South Africa, the South African palate is a little bit, likes more sweeter things. It was an instant put off in the levels of the sugar that was in the Zimbabwean product as opposed to the South African market. So for example, in Zimbabwe, we had two products that were moving. The original that only contained 4 grams of sugar in 500 grams, and the alternative being the lemon flavor. When we moved to South Africa, those two failed in South Africa. But in South Africa, the brands, the what you call it, the lines that were actually moving were the banana, the strawberry, which had 8 grams of sugar in them. So they were more sweeter. So we realized that their palate was a little bit sweeter than what was happening in Zimbabwe. But we knew we are targeting people who are focused on being healthy. So we needed to keep our sugar still low, but address what that market requires. When we moved into Zambia now, Zambia was a totally different ballgame, interestingly, because when we moved into Zambia, we expected them, by virtue of Zambia has got more, what can I say, more natural products and less processed foods. So we expected the market to want the more baser taste, like what is wanted in Zimbabwe. But lo and behold, they also wanted the sweeter product, which was already doing well in South Africa. So you need to understand your market, but stay true to your value proposition. And because we've stayed true to to our value proposition of offering healthy foods, healthy alternatives, nutraceuticals. It has been easy when we are introducing new products into the line because we're not moving out of who we are, and therefore we have maintained our brand authenticity moving throughout the markets. If you go to Ezulu in Zambia, it's the same thing. Go to Zim, it's the same thing. Go to South Africa, it's the same thing. I'm in the UAE now, and I've not changed anything. It still continues to be nutraceutically focused on health foods. So that's on the face on how to be resilient. Then the second on commercial funding. Okay. Now on commercial funding.
You can go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so on commercial funding, like I said, I learned pretty quickly because I've been doing this for close to 20 something years now. Whenever I approached any bank for funding, the first question you're asked is, what collateral are you putting on the table? Commercial funding will always want collateral. They need something that they can hold on to while they are funding you. So, which is why I learned pretty quickly that you need to focus on building your balance sheet. Building your balance sheet. And rightfully so, it's difficult to do that because you are a startup, you've got this idea that you got in your bedroom, and you don't have the capital to do that. So naturally, most entrepreneurs start off in toll manufacturing, or they get someone to do it, to build whatever it is that they want to sell and so forth and so on. But make it deliberate and give yourself a timeline that within the next 3 years, I need to either have, if you are into peanut butter making, you need to have a peanut butter making machine within 3 years. Yes, the building can come later, but at least start working on your balance sheet. That way, when you approach commercial funders, then it becomes easier because you've got leverage. And unfortunately, commercial funding does not need networks, or fortunately. So there is no one who can, even if you knew the bank manager, you still need to have the leverage for them to be able to fund you. And then the next point then obviously is, if commercial funding is a problem, which naturally then pushes people to the next, which is either, depending on how many years your business has been running, you can either go the private equity direction where you can offload equity. And again, if you do not have any collateral, you do not have any assets, what then are you going to be selling to any potential partner in private equity? Because your business is going to be valued at such a low figure that this guy or who's coming in may actually want to take 50% or even more because they can afford, because from the valuation, there is nothing. So collateral, your balance sheet is very important. If you go to venture capital now, unfortunately, the venture capital.
Okay. I almost
Yes.
want to those additional thoughts to after we come back at the end. We want to quickly move to the breakout room